Hi, my name is Isabella Palazzolo, and this is topic number 4, Media and Foreign Policy. Starting off with the introduction, what is the definition of media exactly? Well, the author refers to media as it can be used to refer to something actual, but it is often used to reference an abstraction, and a negative one at that. Well, how can the media be negative if we use it every single day? Well, countries like China, Russia, and Turkey use the media as their way of showing authoritative control, such as blocking external websites and apps, denying visas to international reporters, and arresting and assaulting journalists. Russian agents and the Islamic State ISIS terrorist organization can wage war for hearts and minds and bodies. Both state and non-state actors view media not just as propaganda arm, but as a battlefield on its own terms. Beginning with 9/11, Al-Qaeda was described as masterminding the attack so that the whole world would be watching when the second plane hit the World Trade Center. Today, mainstream media has taken even further measures, such as 24/7 reporting, on-the-scene interviews, and dramatic images and videos. Unfortunately, terrorism coverage serves to publicize the tragedy and to further the notion that there is an ongoing threat. As the terrorism expert Paul Wilkinson put it, one consequence of this is that terrorists thrive on the oxygen of publicity. Media coverage also allows terrorists to attract recruits. This is how they choose their targets. The U.S. military-industrial tech complex is researching ways how to protect our country from these terrorist attacks. The future of threat assessment in foreign policy is cybersecurity and artificial intelligence. Social media and foreign policy. In July 2017, Facebook, YouTube, Microsoft, and Twitter launched the Global Internet Forum to Counter Terrorism, known as the GIFCT. The GIFCT wrote, "Our mission is to substantially disrupt terrorists' ability to use the internet in furthering their causes while also respecting human rights. Social media can be used for political sabotage or micro-targeting anyone. An example of this is the 2016 presidential election." Flooding U.S. information channels with false and fake news has terrifying implications for democracy, but the current threats facing the U.S. pale by comparison to the Russian government's domestic oppression of media and citizens' access to information. An example can be seen as Russia's assassination of journalist Anna Politkovskaya, which was a journalist in Moscow. The Committee to Protect Journalists, a U.S.-based nonprofit, estimates that at least 20 journalists in Russia have been killed. Media, the First Amendment, and the presidency. In the 21st century, American media has had a great influence on international affairs and foreign policy, and the social media's impact has been outsized. In Facebook, 2004, YouTube, 2005, and Twitter 2006. The State Department declared that it was making an exciting foray into the online world with a new website, America.gov. Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice noted the site would encourage a two-way conversation between America and people in other countries. In the first Obama administration, social media was becoming a critical instrument for spreading policy information, evaluating public opinion, and surveillance. There also had to be recognition on the First Amendment of freedom of the press in this situation. The Obama administration began to use intrusive measures against reporters by spying on journalists and monitoring their phone records to try to force them to reveal their sources. This began to raise serious questions concerning the respect the administration had for the press. Unlike the other presidents before him, Donald Trump is most known for his active social media usage. His Twitter, famously known, @RealDonaldTrump, "My use of social media is not presidential, it's modern-day presidential. Make America great again." Reporters continue to monitor the president's account throughout the night because Donald Trump is known to be active at all hours. The president uses social media to do more than post his opinions or break news. He has been dismissive of the press's First Amendment protections and the constitutional reasons for a free press. He has called mainstream media fake, dumb, failing, garbage, and even more than that. Has the freedom of the press been taken out of context? What's lost for the country in Trump's media attacks is the Founding Fathers' deeply reasoned argument for why freedom of the press is fundamentally for a democracy. Foreign policy in the internet age. Social media has become the way of making sure our opinions are seen by the public. Savvy actors recognize that the truly cost-effective way to get their message out is to let their own audience do most of the work, such as like or retweeting certain posts that they make online. Twitter is the most used social media by foreign ministries and heads of state and government to get their message across to the public. A reporter asked then White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer if President Trump's tweets are official, White House statements, and his response was, "The president is the president of the United States, so they are considered official statements by the president of the United States." Is President Trump's tweets always accurate? The political establishment finds it's disconcerting that the president's statements on Twitter and elsewhere are not always factually accurate. To me, President Trump's tweets seem unprofessional, extreme. Sometimes I question if they're taken seriously. He seems to act on his emotions. So sometimes, like, when you look at his tweets, you kind of feel like, okay, are you just saying this just to say it, or is it actually true what you're saying? The U.S. policy implications and questions for the future. In a 2012 study of constitutions adopted from 1946 to 2006 in 188 countries, 97% include the right of freedom of the press or expression or both. Is the U.S. Constitution becoming outdated, or is people learning how to take advantage of it? Is one of the questions that concerns me. If the U.S. still wants to be the world's leading democracy, its government needs to continue to uphold the rights and standards of the First Amendment. So my ending thoughts. It seems to me that people have begun to take some of our rights out of context. For example, we have the freedom of speech, but is it morally right to criticize or verbally abuse others? We also have freedom of the press, which is discussed in this article. But is it morally right to do things in the media that can cause negativity or bring people down? If the media is being used by people who hold a professional position, such as the President of the United States, shouldn't it be used more responsibly? And finally, could the media potentially cause more problems concerning relationships with allies or foreign countries, based on how people use the media to conduct certain messages or to get their points across? And that's my reference.